Is it difficult for women to say to men directly, I'm not attracted to you and I have no interest in dating you?
Yeah, that's quite insulting. I wouldn't say that. I think you usually go with like the I've got a boyfriend excuse or something like that.
Have you ever been rejected by a woman and the reason that she gives is that the two of you are just not compatible? What exactly does that mean, you're not compatible? When you first hear it, it sounds perfectly reasonable. She likes me, she thinks I'm a great guy, but alas, we're just not compatible. I'm a high quality man and she's a high quality woman, and of course we could be friends, but romantically, we're just not compatible. That's it. That's all that's going on here. It's not that simple. And in this video, I'm going to act as a translator and explain what women actually mean when they say we're not compatible. First off, it does need to be said that there is some validity to the idea of romantic incompatibility. It is possible for two people to like each other, to admire each other, and for both people to be high quality people, but for romantically, it's just not going to work. You can probably think of examples in your own life, women who you admire, women who you respect, women who you're friends with, but for one reason or another, romantically, you're just not interested. You enjoy her company, she's a great friend, but maybe she's too tall, she's too fat, she's too ugly, she's too masculine, she's too crazy in one of her personality aspects, something. It's just not romantically working for you. There's no spark, there's no real connection that excites you. Fundamentally, she just lacks that essential quality that you look for in a romantic partner. Women experience this as well. They can like a man, they can enjoy his company, they can be friends with him, they can admire him and respect him, all of that stuff, but he just lacks that one essential quality that she needs in order to feel a romantic interest. So the idea that two people are not romantically compatible does have some validity sometimes. And women have different tastes. Not all women think the same. Not all women are attracted to the same type of guy. There's a side project that I'm working on where I got this guy to record footage of himself talking about his personality, his interests, his life, and I sent it to a bunch of different women to get feedback from them as to whether or not they thought he was desirable. Some women loved him. They thought he was interesting, extroverted. They loved his creative, free-flowing spirit. They liked the fact that he was into yoga. Other women didn't like him at all. They didn't think he was attractive. They thought he was too feminine, that he talked too much. They all thought that he was an interesting, likable, friendly guy, but romantically, he was only desirable to some of the women, and this is proof women have different tastes in men. So based on your personality and the lifestyle that you live, you're not going to be compatible with every woman, and this just reinforces the importance of going after women in your particular niche. If you're more of a creative, artistic kind of guy, then you want to hang out with, hippie girls, women who just sort of go with the flow and appreciate those qualities. Whereas if you're a guy who's good at business and you're good at making money, then you want to be appealing to women who appreciate those qualities. So I do grant that there is some legitimacy to this compatibility idea. And the question that's important is not so much if a woman tells you we're just not compatible, is she lying or not? More important to ask is whether or not she's telling you the whole truth. You see, historically speaking, women have had a really good reason to lie to men because men are the biologically stronger gender. And so if a woman rejects a man's sexual advances, then she is vulnerable to physical retaliation. And for most of human society, the social structures in place did not have good protections for women. So when a woman is rejecting a man and he demands an explanation, why? Why don't you want to go out with me? What's wrong with me? Tell me, why don't you want to be my girlfriend? Her instinct, her biological instincts kick in that says, I need to lie to this man. This is a dangerous situation. He's bigger and stronger than me. He could get really, really upset. I need to protect his feelings. You see, this is an instinct of survival. It's self-preservation. Now, in her head, she might be thinking, this guy's crazy. Of course I'm not going to date him. He's too short. He's too poor, he's too ugly, he's too socially awkward. But she's not going to tell him that because he's emotional, he's just been rejected and he's feeling embarrassed. In a worst case scenario, out of frustration and anger, he could physically lash out at her. And even in the best case scenario, it's going to emotionally affect him. He's going to feel really sad and rejected, and she's going to feel responsible for those emotions. That empathy is really, really unpleasant to feel. And so just as a pain avoidance mechanism, she wants to avoid those emotions being triggered inside him. So in her head, she's looking down her reasons for why she's rejecting him, trying to find the one that she's comfortable sharing. She's thinking, can I tell him that he's too short? No, that's hurtful. Can I tell him that he's too ugly? No, that's nothing he can really do about that. Maybe I'll tell him that he's too poor. No, that's going to make me seem shallow. What can I tell him? And there it is, the magic line that's going to spare his feelings. Not technically a lie, but not really the whole truth either. We're just not compatible. You asked for an explanation and she gave you one. Now, was it the total explanation? Not by any stretch of the imagination, but it does give you an answer. It's like asking a woman why her last relationship failed. She looks down all the reasons why the two of them broke up, and she thinks, what's going to paint me in the best possible light? What's the easiest answer to give? Oh, he neglected my needs. Now, is it true? Maybe it's true. Maybe that genuinely is a reflection of what happened. Is it the whole truth? Probably not. We'll miss out the point where she neglected his needs. Maybe she was flirting with other men. Maybe she cheated on him. She hasn't lied, but she definitely hasn't told the whole truth. So how are you meant to make sense of a situation where you ask a woman out and she says, I'm sorry, I just don't think that we're compatible? Because you obviously think that the two of you are compatible, otherwise you wouldn't have tried to get her to be your girlfriend. Say you've been casually dating her and things have been going well, and so you decide to make that push for exclusivity, only to hear, I'm sorry, I just don't think that we're compatible. Or maybe you're good friends with a girl, you've been friends for years, and you obviously have complementary personalities, and so you think, well, this is just such a good relationship already, why not make this romantic? And so you talk to her about transitioning out of a friendship into a romantic relationship, only to hear that you're not compatible? How does that make any sense? It doesn't make sense because it's not the full explanation. It's just the answer that she's giving to try and get out of the conversation. There is something that she's not telling you. It sounds very friendly and benign to just say, oh, we're not compatible, but hey, maybe if suddenly you made $1 million, magically that compatibility might just arise. Or what if you become really famous and influential? Are you suddenly compatible? Or you went to the gym and you developed this incredible physique? Or magically your face changed and you got this incredible jawline and these amazing good looks like a male model. Are you suddenly compatible? What I'm saying is that if you really drill down into it, when a woman says we're not compatible, that's a red herring. It's not the real reason why she doesn't find you attractive. It's not the real explanation for why the two of you aren't becoming romantic. There's something else going on. She just says we're not compatible because that's the nice thing to say. That's her way of trying to spare your feelings. That's the nice explanation. And there's the truth of it. Women are not going to be honest with you about why you're getting rejected. She thinks that the real reasons are too hurtful for you to hear, or maybe the real reasons make her look shallow and she doesn't want to be exposed like that. And it sucks because you want to know what the real reason is. If there is an explanation for why you continuously are getting rejected by women, you want to know what it is. What is it about you that is unattractive or undesirable in a romantic sense? Because if you know what it is, then maybe you can change it. In an ideal world, women would be honest with men about why they're rejecting them, and men would get the feedback that they so desperately need. In this ideal world, maybe men would also be more emotionally robust and better equipped to handle rejection. They'd also be more clued in, and they wouldn't settle for some simplistic explanation of, we're just not compatible. They would dig deeper, they would ask questions. Why aren't we compatible? What specific part of our personalities do you feel like aren't compatible with each other? What characteristics are you looking for in a romantic partner that I don't have? But the odds of women volunteering this information and going against their instincts, and of men having the courage to even ask these questions, is very, very low. Now, I've been trying to solve this problem with this little side project that I've been working on, and I'm going to tell you more about that in the next video. It's a method I've come up with on trying to get men honest, real feedback from women with regards to their desirability. But on the whole, if a woman says that the two of you are not compatible, what she really means is that she doesn't find you sexually desirable. You're not attractive to her. If you were more desirable, you would be more compatible. She's trying to let you down easy, but the fact is, she's just not into you. Men want sex from women, and women want commitment from men. So is it morally justified to sleep with a woman knowing that she wants more from you, but you're only interested in physical gratification? This is the topic of my latest video. In this video, I explain why men are promiscuous and what's behind our desire for novelty. I explain the backlash against the female-centric cultural myths that our society has and men's reaction to learning the truth about gender dynamics. I talk about the stages of a man's life and whether or not he is likely to ever grow out of his desire for casual sex. And lastly, I talk about all of the moral issues that arise when sleeping with a woman who you know wants more from the relationship than you're willing to give. I also share the one get out of jail free card, the one guaranteed method that you can do what you want without raising any kind of moral issues. This is the way that you can sleep with women, you can be promiscuous, but you can also be completely ethically clean. For every video that I post on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon. That means that right now you're only seeing half of the total content that I create. If you'd like to see the other half, please sign up to my Patreon. It's just $5 a month and it's a great way to support the channel. I really hope to see you over there.